In the complex and mysterious world of One Punch Man, an enigmatic and powerful entity is silently creeping in, raising difficult-to-answer questions about its nature and purpose. It is God, regarded as the supreme deity, but behind that veil of mystery, could it be a grand deception? Let's explore this mysterious entity with Ackerman recap in today's video. The Monster Association arc has revealed many important details, especially the appearance of God. Initially, God only appeared as a swirling wind with vague outlines. In Chapter 132, Psykos described God as resembling the surface of Jupiter. However, when Saitama, Flashy Flash, and Manako looked through an underground rift in Chapter 138, God seemed to be in a different space, appearing as a gigantic humanoid entity. However, none of the three could see him. His enormity was proven in Chapter 153, an immense body made entirely of bones and flesh, with no face. Was this God's true form or merely the homeless emperor's imagination? In Chapters 156 and 165, God continued to change appearances when approaching Tatsumaki and Garou. This time, he used the forms of Blast and Bang to deceive them, unsuccessfully, revealing a face similar to what the homeless emperor had imagined. Despite being regarded as a god, God was instead perceived as a criminal. So who is God really? Let's explore some wild theories about this supreme deity. We know very little about the full extent of God's abilities. However, the mere appearance of one of his mysterious cubes was enough to force top S-class heroes like Blast into action. This suggests God is an extremely dangerous threat, to the point where humanity faces a genuine crisis. After receiving a portion of God's power, Garou transformed, possessing various powerful abilities, even forcing Saitama to get serious before being defeated. This strongly implies God has extraordinary power. Moreover, Sitch said standing against God required the ability to manipulate space and time, speaking to this enigmatic entity's terrifying might. God can turn humans into mysterious beings and grant them supernatural abilities. He gave the homeless emperor the incredible power to summon energy spheres, like small exploding suns on impact. God also aided Psykos and Orochi in increasing their power during their fusion process, enough to slice through the Earth's surface in a single attack barrage. Furthermore, God can bestow power on individuals who touch one of his mysterious cubes. However, if deemed unworthy, they will be stripped of it and may die. God can also infiltrate the homeless emperor's mind and communicate with him, as well as freely alter his appearance in the minds of those he approaches. He approached Tatsumaki in Blast's form and attempted to lure her but failed. God quickly retreated when Tatsumaki realized it wasn't the real Blast. His next effort targeted Garou, successfully using Bang's appearance. Although Garou tried to retain part of himself after being transformed by God, that entity still influenced the hero hunter's psyche, making him far more cruel. According to Blast, God can move between dimensions, having nearly transcended spatial barriers. Blast also noted that God has been intervening in this world more frequently because something in this space is attracting his attention, implying Saitama. God can create images of himself and vice versa, concealing those he doesn't want seen, like when many heroes couldn't see his feet emerging from spatial rifts. It's almost certain that Gun will be the primary villain the heroes will face in the future, especially a worthy opponent for Saitama. For 20 years, Blast and his collaborators have battled God, searching for and trying to analyze the mysterious cubes that allow communication with God and turn humans into mysterious beings. 2 years ago, when Blast fought the Elder Centipede, God approached and wished to grant him power. After refusing, Blast engaged in battle with this enigmatic entity and sought to survive. God's sudden appearance was likely the primary reason the Elder Centipede escaped the top hero's grasp. Since then, Blast decided to keep God's existence secret from others in the Hero Association. God granted the homeless emperor his power and elevated Orochi and Psykos' abilities. Although his true motive remains unknown, God seemed to agree with the homeless emperor's belief that humans are a worthless plague on such a vast and beautiful planet. God tends to test whether people are worthy of the power he grants through a mysterious cube. If not, they face being stripped of all power or even destroyed. Clearly, God tends to prevent people from knowing about his existence or learning about him if possible. Like when he took the homeless emperor's life and power before he could answer any of Zombie Man's questions. God also proves opportunistic in attempting to lure Tatsumaki and Garou into accepting his deal by using Blast and Bang's forms. Though he quickly retreated when Tatsumaki realized it wasn't the real Blast, this shows God always seeks opportunities to further his schemes when possible. Again, God seems to always display disdain for humans and care little for life on this planet. This is evidenced by Blast's words that the awakened Garou, partly influenced by God, would unleash a deadly energy with each attack that could endanger all life on the planet. Although previously the hero hunter, Garou was not an evil person, he still helped Tereo and taught the boy what a boy's courage means. Just as Saitama said, Garou's actions were more heroic than villainous. The power he received from God completely contradicted his goal of defeating heroes, not harming civilians. So why would a supposed god like God, who should help humans, become such a villain? What we currently know about God is that he wants to exterminate humanity. Now, from the specific lens of human morality, that is utterly evil. But if we look at it from a bigger picture, what then? Revisiting Dr. Genus's theory of limiter levels, the limiters God imposes to control and restrict beings' power. In this case, Saitama broke through that limiter through his training regimen or something else that made him the strongest. Now back to God's plan. Perhaps the reason he is so adamant about exterminating humans is to prevent more from breaking through their limiters. Assuming humans are the only ones capable of breaking through it, people might now wonder why God would want to prevent humans from achieving this. This could simply be explained that humans are arguably not the best at rational thinking in so many cases, and we can't control ourselves when our emotions come bursting out. That's why God is doing this, to eliminate a major threat before it arises. Saitama is a prime example of the danger of breaking limiters. His casual punches can create crevasses, level cities, and disperse storms. Seemingly simple punches that can overwhelm planet-busting death rays. And Murata confirmed that Saitama could destroy the Earth, coupled with his apathy towards collateral damage, including infrastructure and human life. It's very fortunate that one crafted such a highly reasonable story. This has restrained Saitama, denying him the opportunity to truly unleash his full might, as the results would be catastrophic if he did. But even so, he seems unable to control his emotions when they arise. A prime example is in OVA 4, when Bang and Saitama play rock, paper, scissors. After repeatedly losing to Bang, frustration was evident on his face until he secured an honorable victory. If Bang hadn't swiftly escaped before Saitama brought down his toy hammer to strike him, then we think the old man would have surely perished right after. Again, if humans could break their limiters, then there'd be many more humans who could break that limit. And what if that limit was open to humans with malicious intent? We dare not imagine how catastrophic that could be. Another scenario we think is quite interesting regarding God and his relationship with the characters he grants power to. We notice a bit, the characters he grants power to tend to be isolated individuals with no one left to rely on. But we also see that the majority of those who accept his offer tend to meet an ill fate. Here we have two characters, the homeless emperor and Garou. Both perished after failing, but Psykos is a different case. Despite her losses and God's appearance, she did not die. This leads us to hypothesize that it was this deviation from the norm that allowed Psykos to escape death. She was not entirely like the homeless emperor or Garou, not completely alone. Psykos had an extremely close relationship with Fubuki. Hence, in her final moments when faced with death or surrender, she yielded to Fubuki. The actions of the other two could be seen as a rejection of God's power. From there, it was either save themselves or death as he withdrew all his granted might. This hypothesis, if true, would provide insight into the nature of God's power in the One Punch Man universe. It may not be as absolute as its outward appearance, but rather contingent on the chosen individual's isolation and aloneness. The meaning of isolation is a profound and grim theme, not just in the One Punch Man universe, but resonates heavily with social issues in Japan, affecting even the indomitable like Saitama. The remedy, as depicted in the work, is the simple yet powerful act of connecting with and relying on one's fellow man. This seems to be the profound message the creator wished to convey through the lens of this work. One of the driving themes in the work is how the characters overcome their inner issues and demons. Saitama had the noble goal of becoming a hero, so he trained to become stronger. He became too powerful and wallowed in boredom and apathy for why he was a hero in the first place. Saitama then met Genos, and later King, who helped him overcome seeking thrills in battle and instead focus more on the altruism of helping others. The difference between current Saitama and early One Punch Man is night and day. Genos was nearly a single-minded monster killer when we first saw him. He was laser-focused on the mission, collateral damage be damned as long as the job got done. After becoming Saitama's disciple, he shed his extremist methods in favor of altruism and helping anyone in need no matter the cost. Tatsumaki was extremely isolated, save for her love for her little sister Fubuki. She was sold to terrorists by her parents, traumatized, and heeded Blast's ill-timed advice of relying on no one but herself. So she trusted no one would help her, trying to save the world alone. She executed this duty and instilled fear in others, also to ensure her sister would never be taken advantage of again. Until Genos risked his life to help her, showing others could aid her. Then her rapport with Saitama after their battle and subsequent talk seemed to genuinely steer her down a new path where she re-evaluated the worth of people and relationships, where others could grow strong in their own ways to help as heroes with differing abilities. God does the complete opposite. He seeks out the wounded, the isolated individuals, while preying on their worst qualities to use them as agents for his destructive aims. Saitama made friends through those new meaningful bonds that helped them overcome their flaws, isolation, and hurt. God opposes Saitama not in punching power, but because he hunts out isolated individuals to use as tools of destruction. And when you disappoint God, after truly failing yourself, he discards you like a worthless toy. That covers all my thoughts on the God theory. If you found it insightful, please like, subscribe to not miss more of my videos.